think that the Vikings have put together a pretty damn good staff, and I think they brought in they were smart, I think, with their free agents, because the free agents they brought in, regardless of what you think of them as players, a vast majority of them have not missed any games, or have Jordan Hicks from Arizona, cap casualty, right? He's had over 100 tackles a few years in a row, hasn't missed a lot of football games. Harrison Phillips, defensive tackle from Buffalo, I don't think he's missed a game yet in his career. So they're bringing in guys, but they're durable. They're tough kind of people that they've brought in, and I don't know. We'll see how all this. I like all the moves, but it's like anything else. I'm a fan. Of course I like the moves. Of course they make sense. Of course this and this and this and this, but we haven't played a snap yet, so we'll see. I mean, the Regan bit was good. Reagan, the receiver, the guy that we got from Philadelphia.
You might as well call him Regan.
Yeah, I think that was a big move, because Amir Smith-Marset had done a good job, but he had made some mistakes. Jalen Naylor, rookie 6th rounder out of Michigan State, I think he has potential down the road to being a good receiver. But you got to have a returner that you trust. The punt returner has to be an unbelievably good decision maker, right? Mm-hmm. When do you let the ball go over your head and maybe go in the end zone? When do I pick it up? When do I fair catch it? If it's by the sideline, do I just take it and, get what you can up the sideline, or do I try to bust it out to the wide field? You have to be trusty. You have to be trustworthy to play that position. And there aren't many guys that are really good at it. So hopefully Jalen is going to come in and take that over. And hopefully he understands that, wow, I just got traded. So it doesn't matter. I was a 1st round pick. This is this is my time. I have to do something here. So hopefully he's super motivated, and we'll go, so it's like, we got, even those question marks have been filled too. So wishing a prayer, Vikings win the division, the weakest division in football, according to somebody I heard a few minutes ago.
No, I didn't say that. I said, hold on. I said, I did. I did,
yep,
but
yeah.
Okay.
You did, but
all right. There are a lot of
what it is, but maybe it is the weakest.
No,
division
I think when you look at the NFC, I think that's a weak division, and I believe the NFC East is a very weak division as well.
See, that's my question.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing. It's like, the NFC East struggled quite a bit last year, and who in the East has made the changes? I mean, everybody's high on Dallas,
Only
right?
Philadelphia.
Only Philadelphia.
Well, I mean, Philadelphia, but they have to. Philadelphia, we play them in week 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested to see what their passing game looks like, because that was kind of their. You have to make the playoffs. At least to make a run in the playoffs, you have to have some semblance of balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very tough to win, and if you're an offense or a defense that is really good with the run or the pass and not good in the other, or you know what I'm saying? It's hard to do. And so that's kind of the interesting part for me, to see how they do opening day and see if they can sit back and throw the football around the yard.
We are talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings radio network analyst, Pete Bercich. Pete, the strength of this team is offense. It really is. And you look at the weapons they have. Justin Jefferson is probably one of the best wide receivers in the league, top 5 wide receiver in the league. Some people put him in the top 3. You have Adam Thielen, who last year proved himself to stay healthy at some aspects of his game. He has great understanding of how to catch the ball and not dropping the ball. And then Dalvin Cook, who I think is so underrated as a running back. The guy doesn't stay healthy, but when he is on the field, he is more elusive than any running back in the NFL. What is this offense going to be this year if all 3 of these guys could stay healthy?
Well, that's it. What you'll have balance, right? Run, pass. I mean, I sit there like I look at Dalvin Cook. Is Dalvin Cook the best, running back in the league? It's like, all right, well, let's take a look at that question. Can he run like Henry can, in Tennessee? No, he can't carry. I don't think he's maybe in the top 4 or 5. But if you bring in a route runner, a receiver, pass blocker, and all those other phases of the game, I think Dalvin is the most versatile running back in the
100%.
NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm excited, to see what the Rams decide to do with him and the options they use. Because I know one thing about O'Connell, and that the Los Angeles way of doing things is shifting, motioning, formations, putting running backs out wide, doing all these things just to get the defense, one, to tip their hat if they're in man or zone, or if they're in this or that. And the second thing is to create mismatches. And if they could find a way to get you in a formation or set where you have all of a sudden a linebacker walking out and having to cover Dalvin Cook in space, they're going to take advantage of it. Right. So I'm very, very excited to see, like I said, Todd Gurley was for a couple years an unbelievable producer. And I could see them trying to do or having, Dalvin falling into that niche to say he could be that guy. Now, Jefferson is explosive as he can be. And for Jefferson, the cool thing about, and I hope Cousins does more of this, is what Jefferson has is a catch radius. If you get that ball anywhere near him, he comes down with it. And I like to see Kirk do that a little bit more. I don't care if everybody's covered. It's one of those things where if you look and, your primary, secondary, those guys are all covered, just throw it up to Jefferson and he'll 65% of the time come down with it. And he's so good down the field. He's so fast. He's so good at starting and stopping. Now, and then you've got Adam Thielen, who, his numbers are down because of injury and some other things, but probably one of the best red zone receivers in the league right now. And I think that's where you're going to see a lot more of him, his precision in running routes, his timing, those kinds of things, all those things that become so important in the red zone. I think Thielen's going to be there as well. KJ Osborne did a nice job last year. He had 700 yards receiving. He's like, no one's ever heard of him. And a lot of them were on third down. So we have depth there. We have some depth at running back. Tight end situation. Irv Smith Jr. hasn't played in almost 2 years, because of injury. So he'll be back hopefully on opening day. He's expected to be back. How's he going to fit in all this? I mean, it's going to be, they have so many weapons, right? It's just a matter of protecting Kirk and making sure that the front five, are doing their job.
So I want to move on to the defensive side of the ball. You were mentioning it a little bit earlier with Ed Donatel. This is the first time the Vikings have had a 3-4 defense, maybe a hybrid defense in a long time. Since I started watching football, they were always a 4-3. Right. I don't know when you played. Maybe they had that kind of thing. But so what?
How old do you think I am? Jeez. They haven't played. I don't think they've played a 3-4 since, I think they did it 1 year. I think it was 1986.
Oh wow, okay. So
somebody up here looked it up and knows it. So
so it's even before you were playing over there.
It's been a long time.
Oh yeah, with how well they develop pass rushers.
To your point, and I'm not that old.
I know. But
he's a baby to you. I'll tell you that. He is an absolute baby to you. Believe it or not, he's 27 years old. He's a baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
So my question is,
the beard doesn't help.
It's true.
Thank you. So my question is, in terms of the transition of like certain players within that defense, you talked about Danielle Hunter earlier. Za'Darius Smith is a guy that has been in a hybrid before with the Ravens, so probably a big reason they brought him in. What do you think about the fit with these players now transforming into it if they do have to play that kind of defense down the road?
And that's a great question, because I had that. Especially with the guys up front. Dalvin Tomlinson came from the Giants, not the Jets, the Giants. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you.
And he's played in a 4-3 his entire career. Played a little 0-nose on third down with the Giants. And Harrison Phillips, same way. He's been a 4-3 guy in Buffalo the whole time. But those guys did play in the preseason, so we got to see him doing a little bit of the 3-4 bit, and I thought they did a very, very good job. So I'm pretty excited to see what goes on, and the good 3-4 teams have depth at those 6 guys in the interior, and you got to have that. And then the guys on the outside have to be able to set the edge and be game changers, and I think Danielle Hunter and Za'Darius Smith can be those guys. Now, Patrick Jones, young guy from Pittsburgh, he's going to get some snaps this year, and he's going to have to step up and do the same thing. So the other guy's DJ Wanham. I think he had 8 sacks last year. So I would expect DJ Wanham to be an outside linebacker on third downs, and then have Za'Darius as an interior pass rusher, Daniil on the other side, and then who cares whoever else is out there, right? I mean, you got 3 guys right there that can get after it and be more physical. And I think that's what Donatell's done. He wants these guys to have more of an attitude, more be physical, very, very tough up front, because that's kind of what it comes down to. This 3-4. A lot of teams run a bear type of front. You can kind of interchange it with a 4-3 a little bit more easily. Because it's not so much of a change in technique. So the Packers do that quite a bit. So for Za'Darius, he's used to playing the outside linebacker spot, even when he was with Green Bay. But you got to have big guys that are big enough and physical enough and fast enough that tight ends can't block them. And, I think we have 2 of those guys. It'll be very tough to run on the outside. We'll see. I mean, the Packers have two pretty good, between Jones and Dillon. They've got 2 good running backs.
That's about it.
I'm saying you got to be able to stop the run against Green Bay with 2 safeties up high. Because if you go single high safety, Rodgers is just going to throw the ball. Question is are the Packers patient enough to continue to run the football? You got to keep Aaron off the field, right? You got to extend drives on offense and defense. You got to get as many 3-and-outs as you can. The Packers are one of the best teams in the league. It's so hard to get them to 3-and-out. They just move the chains. If you just keep them from being explosive, that's a pretty good day. But in the same time, they may get they can do 7-minute drives of, 80 yards or 60. It's very, very tough to get them 3rd and long. Rodgers is smart. He's very, very efficient, and they don't get a lot of negative or lost yardage plays in the running game. So, yeah, you kind of bite you're biting your nails, just don't give up the big one. Don't give up the big one. And, last year at home, we finally go ahead, and then they come back and first play, 75-yard touchdown pass to Valdez-Scantling. I mean, it's like, that's another thing you can't do. So this is it. Like I said, it's my head spins when I start thinking about all the different games and all how this thing should play out and how will it play out. Vikings just have to execute. Our starters haven't played a ton. Last year, first game, we were in Cincinnati. We had 12 penalties on offense or total, and I think we had 9 of them in the first half. So if you go out and do that, you're not going to win no matter who you're playing, except maybe the Jets. You're not going to win.
Go ahead.
Against most teams.
Go dump my team in the garbage, please.
I'm just having fun with you.
I'm having fun with me too.
You even simping with, you got the hat and everything.
That's right, man. I mean, it should be Jets and on the back losers. That's what it should be.
You know what though? With the whole fireman, was it the Fireman Joe guy? Was that his name?
Fireman Ed.
Fireman Ed. That was one of the coolest things in sports. I mean, it's like when you go to Kansas City for the national anthem and you hear them say "Home of the Chiefs" instead of the "Home of the Brave." When you're singing the national anthem, you can leave after that because that was like, it's just to hear a stadium going nuts and then everybody just shuts up and you're looking around going, "What is going on?" And then you see them down in the corner, and then 80,000 people. Yeah. In unit, it was real. That was one of. I'm glad I experienced it as an announcer.
He's still doing it. He's still doing it.
He's still doing it.
Oh, he's still there. He's still there.
Good.
Well, with the whole Rex Ryan thing, after the last year Rex Ryan, he said that this team stinks so bad. I'm never going to a Jet game again. And then a year later, he's back there doing the same thing he always does.
Kind of like you.
Well, I don't go on the field screaming JETS, Jets. I go on the field and say JETS, lose, lose, lose. Because that's what happens.